Good morning everyone. Welcome back to 9th class social studies. So in this today's class, we will discuss about oceans and salinity of oceans. Okay. So while we were discussing about lithosphere, we have seen that there are three order landforms. First order landforms, second order landforms and third order landforms. We discussed them. So first order landforms are continents and oceans. Okay, so first thing you need to remember that oceans are part of first order landforms. Okay, the huge water bodies that covers the air surface altogether is called as oceans. So we know that there is one more huge water bodies are there which is being called by another name, sea. Okay, oceans and seas. In several circumstances, we normally uses these two terms of oceans and sea as synonyms. But in actual practice or actually oceans are the huge water bodies that surrounds the earth, whereas seas are water bodies either partially or fully covered by the land. Okay, so little differences are there in between oceans and seas. Okay, so in order to study about the seas, we know that there are, in order to study about the oceans, we know that there are five major oceans, or the entire ocean or the water body, the huge water bodies can be divided into five. Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Antarctic Ocean and Arctic Ocean. Okay, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Arctic Ocean and Antarctic Ocean. So there are five oceans. So the studies about the oceans, oceanography, it started with the first successful deep sea expedition which was conducted from 1872 to 1876 by Challenger. What? Challenger, the first successful deep sea expedition. So from then onwards, this particular branch of study, oceanography, started. Okay, so that's all about the general instructions, the general informations about the oceans. Next we are going to study about relief of oceans. So there are a lot of similarity with the relief of land. We already studied about the relief of the land. Okay, we know that there are plains, plateaus, mountains, valleys, different reliefs are there. So in the same way, the ocean also has got the different reliefs. The entire reliefs of the ocean, it can be divided into four: continental slope, continental shelf, then deep sea plains and oceanic deeps. So altogether four divisions are there for the oceanic relief, ocean relief: continental shelf, continental slope, ocean plains or deep sea plains and oceanic deeps, oceanic trenches. Okay, so first we will see about the continental shelf. It's the border zone up to around 200 meters of depth. 7.6% of the total oceanic area is covered under continental shelf. The largest continental shelf is the Siberian shelf, which is part of Arctic Ocean, which has got a total width of around 1500 kilometers. Okay, continental shelf is very important because majority of the fish wealth are available in this particular area of continental shelf. And then rock, petroleum and natural gas are available. And the third one is, as we know, the seaports are present in continental shelf. That's all about the continental shelf. And the second division is continental slope. Okay, from 200 to around 3000 meters depth. That is called as continental slope. 15% of ocean area covers under continental slope. And this particular continental slope is formed mainly by eroded materials by the glaciers and rivers, submarine canals. The narrow steep-sided valleys are found in this particular area of ocean. Okay, that is the second one. Continental slope covers around 15% of oceanic area. The normal depth is 200 to 3000 meters. And the next one is deep sea plains or abyssal plains. Deep sea plains or abyssal plains. These are the gentle slopes of oceans. The smoothest and flattest area. Smoothest and flattest area of the oceans. Deep sea plains. And the normal depth is around 3000 to 6000 meters. 76.2% of the ocean area is covered by deep sea plains. And the last or the fourth division is oceanic deeps or oceanic trenches. As the name indicates, it is the deepest part, more than 6000 meters. Okay, and normally we will find we generally think that the deepest part of the ocean may be in the right in the middle, but contrary to the belief that the oceanic trenches or the deepest part of the oceans are close to the continental plates, or it is comes near to the land. Okay, so far around 57 trenches are identified. Okay, and the deepest trench what we identified so far is the Challenger Trench, which is popularly known as Mariana Trench, which is located in Pacific Ocean with more than 11,022 meters of depth. That means the highest mountain in the world. If Mount Everest is raised from the bottom, if it is submerged in the Mariana Trench, there will be water above that for a distance of more than around 3 kilometers. Minimum 2.5 kilometers of water will be there. That much is the depth of Mariana Trench. And next comes Puerto or Navas, which is found on Atlantic Ocean with around 10,475 meters. And the third deepest place is found in Indian Ocean, Java Trench, with more than 7,450 meters. So that's all about the relief of ocean relief. We can recap. Four divisions are there. Continental shelf, the border zone, continental slope up to around 300 meters of depth, and abyssal plain or deep sea plains, the smoothest and flattest plains. And the fourth one is oceanic trenches or oceanic deeps. Okay, and we know as per the depth or the equal places with the equal depth are marked with a kind of line, that is what is called isobath. Okay, isobath is a line that connects the places with the equal depth. And the next topic what we wanted to study is salinity of ocean water. Salinity, the term used to define the content of dissolved salt in water. Salinity is the term used to define the content of dissolved salt. The question, why oceanic water is salty? Or from where the salt comes to the ocean? Answer is simple. It comes from the land through a process of denudation. What are the process of denudation? Withering, erosion, transportation, deposition. So when the water is running over the land, the land has got a large amount of minerals, and one of the major mineral available is sodium chloride, which is popularly or commonly known as salt. So that salt is getting dissolved in the water when it moves, and at last it reaches to the huge water body of oceans. Then why all the water bodies around the world is not tasting salty? There are certain situations. Evaporation is one of the major things. While we are evaporating, or we make the water to get evaporated, only the water is getting evaporated. All the dissolved material will remain there. You might have seen the process of making salt, common salt. On the way to Bavalapadu beach, we can see that the common salt is being made. So the ocean water is being brought, and it is just exposed to the sun. So the water is getting evaporated, and the leftover is salt. So if the evaporation is more, when the water is getting evaporated in a fast way, the salt will remain, and the continuous deposition of salt in the same amount of water may increase the saltness of the water. That is the reason why the oceanic water, the water in the oceans, are tasting salty. And the normal river water, as it moves on, always it is getting fresh water from the different sources. So it does not taste salty. Okay, and the salt dissolved in the oceanic water is measured in parts per thousand, PPT, parts per thousand. Generally, we will find, or we will take 1,000 grams of oceanic water, and we will measure what is the amount of, or how many grams of salt is available. Generally, 35 grams of salt will be available in 1,000 grams of water. So general salinity of ocean water is 35 parts per thousand. Parts per thousand. Okay, many minerals are dissolved in the water, not just common salt. Many minerals, but the salt is the largest mineral dissolved in the water, taking around 77.8% of all the dissolved minerals. Common salt is taking around 77.8% of the total minerals. Okay, there are certain factors that affects the salinity. Either the salinity is increasing or salinity is decreasing. That evaporation is one. Evaporation increases the salinity. When the water is getting evaporated in a fast note, automatic that area may feel, or that particular area has got a high concentration of salt. Then precipitation is another factor. The precipitation brings down the salinity. Precipitation in any form, it brings the fresh water. Fresh water means devoid of any minerals, especially the salt. So automatically it brings down the salinity. Just like if you take a handful of salt and dissolving in 1 glass of water, and if we add one more fresh water to that already dissolved salt water, the salinity decreases. In the same way, the precipitation or the fresh water decreases the salinity. Okay, whereas the evaporation increases the salinity. Next, the water flow, either from the rivers or by the melting of glaciers. When the fresh water is flowing to the oceans, sure, the salinity will be reduced. Then winds, it changes the salinity. Wind just mixes up the oceanic water. So it takes the water from one place to another. So the salinity either increases or decreases. Then the fourth one is ocean currents. Ocean movements, the water movements in the ocean. So that also mixes the surface water with the subsurface water, or from one place to another, and that also brings down the, or increases the salinity. So there are certain factors. Evaporation and precipitation is one factor. Freshwater flow, either in the form of rivers or by melting glaciers. Then winds and oceanic currents. That all influences the salinity of oceans. Okay. Then the Lake One, a lake in Turkey, has the highest recorded salinity with 330 parts per thousand. In 1000 grams of water, 330 grams of dissolved salt is there. Then Dead Sea in Israel with 238 parts per thousand. Then Great Salt Lake in America with around 220 parts per thousand. When the saltiness increases beyond a limit, it is not possible for the aquatic animals to live in. Okay, Dead Sea is being called as because no aquatic animals are there in the Dead Sea. And we will not be able to commit suicide by just jumping into these kind of waters, because that salt, the dissolved salt or saltiness, salinity, it will not allow us to drown, and we will just float on it. Okay, that is another thing. It's out of from the text. Then Baltic Sea and Hudson Bay are the two major water bodies where the salinity is too less, just around 3 to 15 grams of salt is available per 1000 grams of water, both in Baltic Sea and Hudson Bay. They are the water bodies which records the least amount of salinity, whereas Lake One from Turkey, Dead Sea from Israel, and Great Salt Lake from USA records the highest concentration of salt water. Okay, then as we have seen a line that connects the places with equal depth, isobar, the places with equal salinity is connected by a line called isohaline. Okay, that's all enough today. The next topic will be explained in the next module. Thank you.